I definitely had an out-of-body experience during a breathwork session where I just completely astro traveled, left my body, stepped into a different realm, essentially, and just interacted with beings or entities, things that are just not common to this reality in this realm that we're in. Even ancient Kemets, ancient Egyptians, they honored the breath. The breath was life, divine power, spiritual vitality. I feel like it's been a disconnect just through society. A lot of indigenous cultures, all indigenous cultures were practicing the ancient wisdom that was essentially given to them and that they're continuing to pass along. If you see all their ceremonies, there's so much movement. And you're talking about bullying. I've also experienced a lot of that too, just growing up in different ways. I was just invited somewhere for the purpose of getting eggs thrown at.
Whoa.
I know!
The plant medicine, which has been the most impactful? There's a lot of different ones. There's ayahuasca, peyote, mushrooms. Which one do you most resonate with or connect with more?
I feel like every single plant medicine that I tried served such an amazing purpose. Mushrooms are such a big plant for me.
Welcome to the Raw Path to Awakening podcast. I'm your host, Ezequiel Reyes, where we share alternative information, unique, unfiltered perspectives on spiritual subject matters, and deconstruct colonization as we cultivate higher awareness in our daily lives. In this episode, I'll be interviewing Greta, and can you tell me how you say your last name again?
Yeah, Ruljevaite.
How do you say it?
I know. J is silent. Once you say it once, it's easy. Ruljevaite.
Ruljevaite.
Yeah, perfect. There you go.
Okay.
It's like the J doesn't exist.
Yeah. Who is a breathwork practitioner, enthusiast of ancient sites, and owner of Encoded Breathwork. So before we start, I just want to ask you, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling excited. I'm actually a lot of different emotions, but mostly excited, and I'm grateful to be here.
Okay. So we'll get straight into it. So I've been watching your journey for a while, and we met at the Anima, and I was really curious about why breath work. What got you started with breath work, and why is that your chosen modality for? Is it nervous system regulation, for healing? Is it also a spiritual practice? Can you expand?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Great question. And it's been a journey. It's been an amazing, long journey. So I've been on a journey for a very long time, just looking for different modalities to help me heal on a very deep level. So
yes,
for a long time, I struggled with just a bunch of different things, anxiety, depression, and I always known that there was something greater out there. Honestly, ever since I was little, I always known there's something so much bigger, and I was just always looking for the right tools. And throughout my journey, I actually came across two amazing modalities almost at the same time. So plant medicine and breathwork, and those were the two modalities that shifted everything for me. Initially, I found breathwork, and I didn't realize how much I was holding in my body, just how much stress, how much trauma.
Was there a trigger or a breaking point where you're like, okay, enough is enough, I need to shift something?
Yeah, so many breaking points, actually. I think there's constant breaking points. And it's great because every time there was a breaking point, I feel like I was always directed to a path that I was meant to go on. And one of my breaking points, though, was I just couldn't survive the way that I was surviving anymore. And I was just constantly seeking and searching for something, always outside myself, because I feel like that's what we've been conditioned to do. And there's always so much stimuli and information telling us things that we need, things that it's going to make us feel better. And I knew deep within my heart, my intuition, that everything that I was looking for outside of me was not the solution. But I thought that if I just kept looking and seeking, I'd find the thing that I'm looking for that actually exists within myself. And thankfully, throughout my journey, when I came across breathwork and I did my first breathwork session, I was like, wow, I'm shocked that we're not all talking about this, And I'm so happy that it is spreading and there's more knowledge around breathwork. But just how powerful one session can be is transformational. I remember when I did my first breathwork session, I had no idea what I was getting into. And the facilitator was basically just breaking down how the session was going to look like, open mouth breathing, accelerated, I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. And you lay down and then you're breathing throughout this entire process. And I had no idea I was going to embark on a whole journey. And throughout that single breathwork session, not only was I able to feel and start to come back to my body again, I was able to realize how much tension I was holding in my body and finally release it. I was crying, I was laughing, I was shaking. I was like, oh my God, there's so much movement, there's so much energy being stirred up. And addition to all of that, I was also able just to get into a place where I felt just this immense peace and clarity. And I had this connection and this esoteric, I guess, understanding. And I'm like, wait, this is amazing. There's so much to this. And around the same time, I was also guided just naturally in my life to just different plant medicine that I've always resonated with, which is wild. I mean, honestly, ever since I was little, I was watching documentaries.
Do you think there's a connection between plant medicine and breathwork? Have you ever had maybe not a full-blown psychedelic experience, but maybe something close with a breathwork session?
Yes.
Can you tell me more?
Yes. So, oh my goodness, there's many sessions, but I definitely had
one that stands out.
That stands out.
Yeah.
I definitely had an out-of-body experience during a breathwork session where I just completely astro traveled, left my body, stepped into a different realm essentially, and just interacted with I guess beings or entities or basically things that are just not common to this reality and this realm that we're in. And once I got to that place, I was like, wait, what is happening here? My body's right over there, but I'm right here. I know I'm grounded. I'm anchored. All right, let me try to integrate this and see what this is all about. And in addition to that, too, I've also had so many visualizations. That's one thing in plant medicine is not always, but I just often have really, really vivid realizations as if I just shifted into a dream, like as if you would remember a very vivid dream when you would wake up.
Yeah.
And I would have so many of those back to back during breath work and so much clarity and understanding. And I'm a very visual person, so a lot of my healing or understanding or once I start to connect to certain things in certain spaces, it's very visual for me.
So the plant medicine, which has been the most impactful? Because there's a lot of different ones. There's obviously everyone's heard of ayahuasca at this point, peyote, mushrooms. Which one do you most resonate with or have had more experience with or connect with more?
Oh, such a good question. And it's so hard to answer that because I feel like every single plant medicine that I tried served such a amazing purpose in my life. And I have such a deep connection. I don't think any plant medicine that I've tried I did not resonate with, And I would say probably right now, currently in my journey, mushrooms actually are such a big plant for me. Sass and mushrooms, those two have I know, together. I know. It is like the most profound reunion between two plants.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also and it's hard to answer that question because I went to the jungle and just had the amazing opportunity to sit with Yahe, and that was transformational multiple times.
Yahe, what is that?
Yeah, it's essentially, it's similar to ayahuasca. I don't want to butcher the exact background of Yahe, but I think it's from more Colombia, different areas, and I guess there's certain perspectives that has more, I guess, of a masculine. Ayahuasca is known as grandmother, the feminine. Yahe has more of a...
I've never heard of that one. Could you explain more the background if you know what plant? Is it a mixture of plants, one plant, and how do you take it?
Yeah, so great question. Great question. So you take it similar to ayahuasca, right? So you drink it, very similar. It looks pretty similar, smells almost similar, it tastes very somewhat similar, I guess.
But it's a different plant.
It's hard to say. Actually, I don't know like the actual. I don't want to say anything incorrectly, but it is a similar plant. It's the same plant, but I think it's a different vine.
I see.
So I think it's the same essential plant, but there's a mixture and there is a different vine, which essentially makes it different.
And you were in Colombia?
I was, yes.
So also one other thing, your fascination with South America.
Yeah.
And is that connected to also the breathwork and the psychedelics, or have you ever always had a fascination with, traveling to South America?
Good question. Yes, I think it's all tied together. To your point, though, I've always had a fascination of South America and honestly just traveling all across the globe.
Yeah.
I'm very, very drawn towards indigenous cultures. And ever since I was little, I just always wanted to explore and experience just different cultures that's outside of our modern society. I feel like there was something so important that was missing, and I feel like there's just amazing shift happening nowadays towards remembrance, just remembering the truth of who we are. And I just always resonated with indigenous cultures. And I feel like many indigenous cultures talk about how, it's important for humanity to go back towards ancient wisdom and practices to help restore balance and harmony with our planet, with each other.
Yes.
And there's just so much amazing wisdom and knowledge that I just feel like was, some knowledge hidden from us, taken from us. Just a lot of knowledge that was pushed back, a lot of wisdom, and just a lot of programming that we are just navigating through the society that many of us are now deprogramming.
What do you think are some of the things that, I guess, important things you've learned from indigenous culture? Because you've, like we spoke before, you've also been to, what was that in place in New Mexico?
Oh, yeah. Chaco Canyon.
You've been there. I think you've been to
Yes.
El Salvador too.
Yes.
So what do you think some of the most important lessons you've learned from people that you've talked to and spoke to, maybe different natives you've interacted with? Like what are some of the lessons you've taken from there?
Yeah. Simplicity is the word that comes up. What does that mean? I think heart, medicine of our heart. I think a lot of the different places that I was able to travel to and amazing people and teachers that I was able to connect with. There's so much medicine of the heart, just listening to our heart, connecting with our heart, connecting to our intuition. So I think that's been the biggest thing because I don't know about you, but I spent so much of my life just from my brain, navigating from my brain, just like, whatever all the conditioning was, whatever I was told to do, what I was told to think. And I knew I never really resonated with it, but that conditioning just kind of cemented in my head. And through all these journeys of travel and connecting, I feel like the biggest thing was to come back to the heart, to the language of our heart. I feel like our heart has its own amazing, profound language. And just like how I believe we all just have one unified language, right? And of course, we speak different languages, but ultimately, energy, vibration, when we're communicating, there is one language that we can understand on a very deep level. And I feel like that has been forgotten. And a lot of these cultures bring you back to that language. And it's also why I love breath work. It's more than just breath work and this specific modality that I facilitate, active breath work, but it's just coming back to just breath. Our breath is life. It's everything. It's all cultures talk about how important breath is. It's the bridge between us here in this physical world.
Which are the cultures that have like active breath work? Like where did all this come from? Like, was there a specific culture that stands out to you, or how like did people just start like, let's just start breathing, you know? Like,
just woke up like back in the cave days.
That's something I would like to know, because I think like in India there's something like they do that, or I'm not sure what other cultures, you know, like.
Imagine us back in the cave days. We're just like, check this out. Whoa, I can do it too. Let's see how we manipulate. Honestly, it probably did happen in a lifetime between you and I. But I think, so a few stand out to me right now, because I feel like so many cultures tie breath, you know, as such an amazing, important tool and so important for us. But, you know, even ancient Kemet, ancient Egyptians, you know, they honored the breath. Ka, so breath was life. So breath was life, divine power, spiritual vitality, and it was represented as a symbol Ankh. You know, there's usually I usually wear it, but I'm not wearing it. And you can actually see in hieroglyphs it's being depicted. So pharaohs or deities rather would hold the Ankh near the mouth of souls and pharaohs. You know, which is just phenomenal. And I think there's also so many hieroglyphs that show yoga. Ancient, I know. I don't know too much about this. This is another area I want to dive deeper in and research. Yeah. But there are hieroglyphs of pharaohs, priests doing different postures, yogic postures, you know. So it all ties to our breath. And then also there's India. I mean, amazing. One of these days, I can't wait to go back to India in this lifetime. You've been to India? Not in this lifetime. But I cannot wait to go.
You will, though.
Yes, I want to. I feel like that's just where there's so many different pranayama breathing techniques from, you know, the ancient yogis, Yogananda, which I love. And
so that is a culture, active culture that practices some type of breath work. Is that correct?
Yes. So I think Kriya is huge. I'm not too familiar with it. It's also something I want to dive in deeper. But if you haven't read the autobiography of a yogi, it's incredible. It talks about Yogananda and how he brought Kriya to the West. And essentially, he taught so many different breathing patterns and how controlled breathing can bring energy to our spine, right? And allow us to move that energy up through our spinal centers and have that ultimate connection to source, to the divine. And there's also, I don't even know if you've seen, have you seen Tumo breathing?
What is that?
Okay, so that's wild. I wish we can just, like, if it would play. So look it up. It's super cool. It's just it shows just how powerful breathing is. So it's a Tibetan breathing style that I think was created thousands of years ago. And it's Buddhist monks practicing a certain style of breathing to create an inner furnace because they're in the Himalayan mountains. So it's sub-zero, below zero temperature.
Is that what Wim Hof practices?
I think he does, essentially. He doesn't practice Tumo breathing, I don't think. If I'm wrong, so sorry. But he has his own practice. But he does facilitate heat through his breathing patterns.
Yes.
But Tumo breathing is a very specific practice, I guess, that was created and taught by the Buddhist monks. But if you see them, they're sitting there in the cold, and they take wet, cold blankets, put it around their body, and use their breath to essentially dry.
Sounds a bit wild and hard to believe.
I know. I mean, personally, I love breath work and I love all the breathing patterns. I definitely do not want to sit on top of the Himalayan mountains and try this. No, like, that just doesn't seem comfortable. I don't want to go there. But it's phenomenal when you see that, you know, just the discipline, the focus, just the trust. It's incredible.
So another thing, let me just check right here. Tell us about your background. I'm really interested. Were you born in Lithuania or were you born here in the States?
I was born in Lithuania.
So what were okay, so you said you had a lot of breaking points. If you could actually just kind of go into like what happened that made you follow this path?
Yeah.
If you're vulnerable enough to share.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Without making this so long, because it's a whole journey and story, but trying to sum it up. So I was born in Lithuania. I grew up in Chicago. I came here when I was one, not even, I think like younger than one, actually. It's when the Soviet Union broke and then we came to the States.
Yeah.
And then after Chicago, I came to Los Angeles after I graduated high school after 18. So things were stirring up in me for a long time. And what I mean is just like, I always felt like I just didn't belong fully here. Almost, ever since I was young. I remember at one point I decked my entire room with just everything ancient Egypt, like ancient Kemet. Like I got everything you can possibly imagine, a sarcophagus, like all the things that was just, I had all these hieroglyph posters. I was like, what is going on? But I always had this deep connection. I knew that just staying in the Midwest, it just wasn't for me. I always knew I had to travel, I had to adventure, I had to go out, I had to remember something that I'd forgotten. So when I came here, I was lost for a little bit. I just had no idea what to do. So I was following the conditioning and the programming where I was like, okay, let me go to community college. I need money, I need to survive. And I'm like, none of this makes sense. I feel like I should be doing something more. But I got so stuck and I was so anxious. So I was very sensitive always. But my sensitivity was just very high and always at a peak that I almost felt like, when you have a computer or TV or, I don't know, you throw water on it and then glitches or something.
Yeah.
That's how I felt all the time. Like I was just this walking, I was just constantly glitching.
Your nervous system was always out of whack.
Always, always. And when I came here and when I landed, I was just really stuck. And because of that, I found things to essentially numb my pain. I found anything and everything to just numb myself, distract myself, to just have some relief from some anxiety. And I was doing things that obviously I shouldn't be doing. Like just alcohol, drugs, just just not honoring myself, not taking care of myself. And from there, my anxiety got really bad to the point where it was just hard to communicate. Like, it's crazy to even acknowledge where I am now to where I was before, because it was so bad that it was hard to speak. It was hard to think clearly. Everything was muffled inside my head. The brain fog was just intense. And at one point, I think I even went to the school's psychiatrist.
So you had a therapist?
I did, yeah. So that's why I tried traditional therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, all these things. And not saying that they're bad. They're not. They're, it's a great modality. It wasn't working for me. And I realized that there's some things that you just can't talk your way out of. But I didn't know that at the time. So I got prescribed Klonopin and Xanax. And that was just, that was a whole other journey. I knew when I got prescribed this, I was like, okay, I know intuitively this will give me relief, but this is going to start a journey that I don't want to dive into. And that's what happened. It was a couple years of being dependent on these, which was an entire journey during it and to get off of it. So everything was just crumbling in my life, essentially. Relationships, just, my mission, my purpose, my body,
and
my
how
skin.
old were you at this time?
Like 20, it was like young 20s, low 20s, that we call it? Yeah.
23?
Yeah, something around that.
Okay.
Yeah, and sometimes I think back, I'm like, it's like I have amnesia or something. Like there's somebody different in my body, and I'm like, who was this past version or versions? But yeah, everything was crumbling around me. So, and myself. So I had terrible cystic acne. My gut was just terrible. I just wasn't taking care of myself. My hormones were completely imbalanced. At one point I was having hot flashes, which was confusing. So I'm like, why am I having hot flashes? This is crazy. And then I was taking Klonopin. I was taking Vicodin. I said, don't ask me how that came into my journey. And then I was like, but then I still graduated college. So I'm like, I think I'm doing the right thing. And I was like, this is so wrong. I was like, what did
you study at school?
Sociology and film. Yeah. So yep, that's what I did.
You're like, what made you choose that? You're just like, let's just pick something, or?
Yeah, well, I finished community college, and then honestly, I just wanted to go travel and live my life in my heart, but I still had so much fear and I had so much conditioning that I just couldn't imagine doing that. So I applied to UCLA, and in my mind, I was like, I'm not going to get in. My grades were fine, but I was like, okay, I made this mental contract with myself. I'm like, I'm just going to apply to one school. If I get in, I'll go there. But if I don't, that's a sign. I'm going to go do my thing. And I got in. And I wrote like the worst paper. I thought I self-sabotaged it. I was like, no, no, I know this is not the sign. But anyways, I ended up going that route. I was like, what am I doing? It just, nothing made sense. My whole life, just like, I was so confused. But I knew it was just part of the journey. I had to navigate through all of it in order to find where my next step was. And through that navigation and just through just not great relationships and just toxic relationships and toxic situations. And of course, through all that, I've also had some amazing relationships and amazing moments of like revelation. But because of just the heaviness and the density, I finally somehow navigated into, I think, I'm trying to think if it was plant medicine first, because it happened all at the same time.
What was it breath work or plant medicine first?
I know. Well, actually, sorry, let me rewind. What really shifted everything was I had almost a mental breakdown because I was at work and then I was just having a terrible time at work, and it was a toxic environment, and I don't know what happened that day. Just everything and anything was just blowing up in my face. It was just a complete mirror reflecting back at me, showing me everything that I just did not want to see. And I just had a mental breakdown. I was just like, I just can't live this way. And I think a few weeks later, and I don't know, I can't remember how this came about, but I realized I had this voice in my head that said, you need to go to Cambodia and Bali. So I went to Cambodia and I went to Bali. And that's like one of the big things that started. I was gone for probably a month and a half, and it was an incredible journey, and it's a very spiritual journey.
You went to Cambodia or Bali first?
Cambodia first.
Cambodia.
So I went to Cambodia first, went to Bali, and then I had in Bali this just amazing experience with this one elder out in the rice field, spent a few days, and it was just a ultimate cleansing and reconnection with earth. And I just remember seeing him, and he was just talking and speaking and singing with the trees, with the land, with the water, knowing, you know, what the water was saying, where to go, where to navigate, to cleanse, to heal, to reconnect. And it's like, I understand that, but I've forgotten that. How do I remember this? So
was that your first, like, wait a minute?
One of the first, pretty much.
This is where I need to go.
Yes. I think that's, And then the next day I was like, I'm done. I threw my Klonopin out.
You're like, bye.
Yeah, later I was like, peace out. No more of you. Out of here. Cancel, delete. But I was like, oh God, this is going to be crazy. So
that's crazy because I've taken Klonopin and I know what it's like to, like, if you've been on it for a while, like,
yes,
if you just stop taking it, it's like,
you experienced that too?
With Klonopin, I've taken on emergencies, in emergency cases, but like I've experienced that with other medications similar to that, because I've taken antipsychotics. Yeah, still on antipsychotics. But I know what it's like to not taper off those medications. Yeah. It's like these can
go haywire.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for resonating.
You're supposed to.
I know. Here I am. I'm like, bing, and I was taking for years at a time. So thank you for resonating. So you feel me. It is. And it was crazy though, because once I did just kick it, and that was the day when I stopped. I never taken it again. So this was 5-6 years of consistent Klonopin taking. And
how old were you at that time?
Man, probably like 25 26 or something. Yeah. And for the first like few months, so at first I was okay because, you know, it takes Klonopin a bit to get out of your system naturally. And in my mind, I'm like, freedom, I'm okay. I've been healed in the waters. And then like 2 weeks later, I'm having panic attacks because of the, what's it called? The withdrawal essentially. Yeah, because my body was so used to it. So I was having panic attacks. I was sweating. And I'm like, how am I going to work? And everything's breaking down. I'm like, what is going on? And it was miserable. I had just so much anxiety. And then that essentially pulled me to, I want to say, I guess breathwork was the first thing. That pulled me towards breathwork. And I forgot where it came about or how I even heard about the class. And then when I dropped into my first class, after the session, I just felt a huge weight lifted off. It felt like years of therapy in one session, you know? Again, that's what I was like, I was doing therapy for so long, but I'm like, nothing is clicking. And not saying that it's not bad or it's not needed. And it's great also if you supplement it. But when I did the breath work, I was like, wow, this density, the trauma that I was holding was living inside my tissues. I was holding it into my body, you know, for so long. And finally I was able to release it, process it. But more importantly also, I don't know, say more importantly, but releasing that tension finally gave me just access to my true self. I was like, wow, it almost felt like you're looking through a window and you can see something that you're meant to see, but it's so dirty. You can't see anything. And then it's clearing it.
What do you think is something that the Western world is not getting, or they're not understanding about anxiety and trauma? And because you said you had a major release your first session, why is the Western world still like so caught up in just like giving people pills for anxiety, or if they have trauma, like it's like, oh, we gotta talk it through. Like, why is it that we don't tap into like nervous system regulation or like things like with breath work, especially because basically breath work is a type of nervous system release and regulation. What is it? What is this, why doesn't the Western world get it?
That's a good question. And thankfully, I do feel like we're shifting. At least that's what I want to believe. But I do see it because there's more, you know, nervous system regulation, more breath work that's out there. But I think conditioning, unfortunately, money, you know, I think it's so easy to get caught in the trap of wanting the quick fix. I've also been there, and sometimes I also am like, I just want to get this done quickly, you know? I feel like we've been so conditioned for so long to not go on the journey or be patient with ourselves. And I feel like when you do the deep work and get to the root of the anxiety, personally, I think they're just all symptoms, you know? Like these labels, in my opinion, are all symptoms. There's nothing wrong with anybody. Yeah. You know, like there's nothing wrong with you. Like and I used to think that too. I'm like, there's something wrong with me. No. But these layers can go very, very, very deep, and it can get very complex, and it can get very complicated. And when you're working also dealing with anxiety or depression, I think that their manifestations are just the symptoms of trauma, the things that we're holding on to that is very deep.
Do you think your anxiety was conditioning? Is it because you were trying to fit into something you weren't meant to? Or where did your anxiety and depression come from, if you can pinpoint it?
Yes, a great question. So I would say there's two layers for me. So one layer was there was just experiences that I never processed, you know, just traumatic, difficult experiences in my life that I never processed, and I never knew how to utilize my emotions, you know. I never knew how to allow my emotions to flow, to release, or to hold space, you know, or have held space for certain situations. So I just held it, you know, and I suppressed it. And once you do that for a very long time, you know, bottles up, like the suppression just bottles up, and this energy doesn't just disappear; it goes somewhere. So it has to live somewhere. So, you know, it'll cement in your body, your fascia. It lives in your tissues. It'll tense up, you know, and so that was one area. So I realized that wow, I have so many things that I've just held in. Regardless if it's not speaking my truth, or feeling embarrassed about something, feeling a lot of shame. That was a big one for me based on some experience that I never felt comfortable either talking about it or feeling it. I never wanted to feel it again. So I just kept it. And a lot of this process from breathwork or other issues, you've got to move that energy. You got to feel it. And it hurts sometimes. We just got to feel it. And I feel like when you surrender to it, then, you know, the pain it dissipates. And you're just, rather than resisting it, right? And I feel like that's also where that pain actually anchors in, is the resistance and the force. We just gotta allow ourselves to move through. So that was one area for me, one avenue. The other avenue was my disconnect. So I was like very sensitive walking nervous system. I was just so overstimulated by just energies, noise, just everything and anything. And I just didn't know how to handle it. Nobody taught me how to stay grounded, create your energetic boundaries, find your center. So I was just always overwhelmed. And in areas that didn't serve my highest self, so it always overwhelmed me too. But in addition to that, I completely didn't realize I cut off my connection to my heart. I was just living in my head. So what happens too is a lot of anxiety is a disconnect from the head and the heart, and it's a real thing. So, there's a thing called the heart-brain coherence. And there's a meditation that helps you find coherence from your heart-brain by shifting your heart rate variability and your brain waves. So they can be in coherence and speak, as they're intended to connect. Like we're not separate, And connecting those channels were really big for me. I cut it off. And I cut it off for fear of so many different things, or fear of being hurt, or, there's so many different reasons. And I was just navigating through my brain. And then I thought that, wow, this is it. My brain controls me, until I realized, in my opinion, I was like, no,
When did you make that switch where it's like, okay, no longer will my brain control me. My heart is going to be my guide. And I'm going to trust what my heart and my intuition says.
Oh, that's amazing. So many moments, but one that comes up in particular to talk about, it was in a psychedelic journey, actually.
What psychedelic?
That's a good question. Honestly, I think it was probably sass and mushrooms.
Sass and mushrooms.
Yes.
And for those who don't know what sass is, what is sass?
Yeah, so it's also a great question. I'm a little hesitant to break it down because I feel like I don't have the exact details of what it is, so I don't want to misspeak it.
SAS, I believe, is MDA.
Yeah, so MDA plant, yeah.
Not MDMA.
Exactly, yeah. So MDA plant. Yeah. But I think it still goes through a synthesis. It's
synthesized through a plant. I forget what plant.
Okay, same. Yeah. I know, I need to do my research so I can. You're throwing good questions, and my brain's like, this is where my brain works. It's like, do research. Figure this out. I just love learning, I feel like we're always learning. But what was your question? Sorry.
So the question was, okay, what was that moment where you're like, okay, my heart's going to lead me and I'm going to trust my intuition. My brain is no longer going to be the pilot.
Oh, okay. So
and I'm not saying that I'm not saying that the brain is a bad pilot. It's just the ego cannot run your life because, we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. And when we have spirit, our guides, our heart tell us something, when we ignore it, bad things can happen,
Yeah.
And hard lessons come. And the universe is constantly trying to get us back to our heart and will give us hard lessons if we do not trust our heart, if we do not trust our intuition. So that's the question, is like, where was that point where it's like, okay, let's trust what the heart's saying,
Yeah, you nailed it in the question. So there was, and there were many points, but in one psychedelic experience, I think because I was carrying a lot of worries. And I was the reason why I had this journey to connect what your question was is before the journey, I was having a lot of worries and fears. And I was like, what is going on? My heart, I know in my heart I shouldn't worry about this. And I shouldn't be fearful of this. But for whatever reason, my brain, I'm just navigating, something's on a loop and it's just going. And I need to figure out what's causing this loop. So in the psychedelic journey, I had this amazing experience where I just connected with my higher self, spirit, just something so divine. And I essentially also left my body in a sense. And I could see, I had this full confidence because I was thinking, just to reference something in that moment, of those worries and fears, but I had full confidence that there was nothing to worry about. So in that moment, I'm like, why was I even worried? So I looked at my brain, I was like, wow, okay, we are just consciousness filtering through this amazing brain, Like I was like, wow. I was like, brain, you're injured. I was like, I love you. Like, we are controlled by our brain, you know? Like, so many people are just like, it's just in my brain. Like, whatever, I'm stuck. This is just who I am. But I'm like, no, you're an amazing consciousness, amazing being, spirit that's filtering through this amazing vessel. Yeah. And it's filtering through your brain, you know? And you can shift it. That's how powerful we are. We can heal it. So I realized, I was like, oh, I'm not my brain. I'm not. I was like, I knew this, but I'm really not right now. And then it's like, wow, okay. And I was like, so buddy, what's going on? Why are you? And I could see it as if I was watching a movie. It was just on a feedback loop from just conditioning. And I was like, oh my goodness. It's like, wow, okay, so how do I help you? Like, I was working with it, you know? It's like, you're not just it. Like, part of it, you're working with it. And I was like, wow, I'm like, and the conditioning in society just leads us astray because, like, it taught us sometimes, you know, talk badly to yourself. At least sometimes we get that taught from our parents who've been taught from their parents, you know? Like, that's not the way, but then you get conditioned to talk badly to yourself. And I was able to see that. I was like, oh, your poor brain. Like, yeah, don't ever talk bad to your brain, you know, love your brain. Like, it's just trying to survive. Like, it was just built to try to survive, but it's also expanded and it has just these amazing intricacies that it's so much more now. Yeah. And it's evolving. And I'm like, wow, okay, we just got to work with it, you know? And you got to guide it, essentially. So when there's a certain loop, you know, you got to talk to your brain, you got to support it, you got to honor it, and then come back to your heart. And that's also where the heart-brain coherence comes in. So you connect your heart to your brain, you know, and as you connect your heart to your brain, naturally your nervous system eases. You go into the parasympathetic, your cortisol goes down, you know, your blood pressure goes down. You can find that ease. So then your body is not triggering your brain and telling your brain that you're constantly in danger. And I think that's such a huge thing too, is when a lot of us are under chronic stress in this society, it's so easy, or holding on to a lot of trauma or suppressed emotions, you're constantly telling your brain you're under stress. So our fascia, this amazing continuous web of connective tissue that surrounds every nerve, every bone, every organ, every muscle, is constantly telling your brain where you are in space, how much tension you're holding, and if you're in danger or if you're safe.
And breathwork can release the fascia?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Yes. It's so amazing. And you just use your breath, you know? And so that's what happens when you do breath work. You help release this fascia. Essentially what's happening is you're creating internal heat in your body. Yes. You're pumping your diaphragm, you're moving your ribs, and your fascia is piezoelectric, which means it generates electricity. So when it's compressed, when it's stretched, it generates electricity. So when you're doing active breath work, you're melting adhesions from the inside out. And then when you melt these adhesions, since your fascia is so interconnected with your vagus nerve, it's you're softening your fascia, then telling your brain, okay, we're safe. And that results into more softening of the fascia. And then that's where the amazing things happen, the release, you know. Trauma gets stored as an unbalanced electrical charge in your fascia, like your collagen fibers. Your breath work helps melt these fibers and release the electrical charge. And then you have which you've probably seen, like people scrying.
Scrying.
It's a new word, scrying. I don't even know what that is.
The scrying is the actual word. I'll tell you what it is.
Is it really?
Yeah.
What is scrying?
Scrying. It's what ancient shamans or ancient medicine people used to do. They would use a bowl of water, or obsidian, a shiny obsidian, and they could look into other realities and timelines using water or obsidian, as a reflection, and they can look into the past, present, future, other timelines. They could pull information. It's called scrying.
Okay, was this a message? Did I purposely pick up on this frequency? Scry? Wait, that's so cool. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Now I'm gonna research that too. I already clocked that in my brain. That's incredible. But okay, yeah. So scrying, I like that. But in this case, crying.
Crying.
Yeah, tremoring, shaking, doing all the things. And what's also really cool is in your fascia, so I think it's a trinity. So there's the collagen, there's the elastin, and there's this ground substance. So this ground substance is a transparent gel-like state, and it's essentially a liquid crystal. So
For some reason, I was like, she's going to say steak. She's going to say steak. A transparent steak.
it's funny. I probably was at one point, and then I like shifted it.
I was like, thinking steak.
Yeah.
She's going to say steak.
A transparent steak. Hey, Greta, all right, we got to tap out. Take a breath. I get too excited. Naturally, sometimes my words just like blah, 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 blah. It's funny, though. I'll say things, and my boyfriend would be like, did you mean to say this? And I'm like, yes. I don't know what's going on. I'm like picking up on weird words. But so to wrap this up really quick, it's super cool, though. But so our fascia, so this gel substance is like a liquid crystal. So it holds an electrical charge. So it's kind of like a computer chip.
Where is it located?
Yeah. So the substance in between the collagen and the elastin. Right. And it's like oil. So it allows your muscles to glide when it's in a good, healthy state. When it's not, it's like glue, and that's just not comfortable, right? And that's sometimes what we live through a lot of tension. But since crystal can store information through their lattice structure, fascia essentially can do the same thing. So let's say you're experiencing a traumatic event. There's a surge of cortisol and adrenaline, and your fascia flash freezes. So it takes like a digital snapshot, right? That's how it stores information, not through words in your brain, but through this structural geometry in your tissues. So that's why you can't just talk your way through trauma, right? And
I notice animals, when they go through trauma, they shake.
yeah.
And they naturally know how to do it. Why do you think humans, we have lost that ability to naturally release trauma when it happens? Because if you've seen videos of those deers who maybe they get hit by a car, or maybe like they get spooked, or something happens and then they shake, you know?
Yeah.
Why do you think we have lost that ability?
Great question. I think disconnection. I think that's the biggest thing, is just being disconnected from our bodies. So often, I also come across so many clients that, and I've been there the same, where I just don't know what's going on. Like when I ask questions, what are you feeling? So often I get the response, I don't know, or where does it hurt? I don't know, like I'm trying to figure it out. It's like, those are just simple examples, but it goes deeper. And I feel like it's been a disconnect just through society, where a lot of indigenous cultures, or mostly I think most indigenous cultures, all indigenous cultures were practicing the ancient wisdom that was essentially being given to them, and that they're continuing to pass along. If you see all their ceremonies, there's so much movement, right?
Yes.
There's the songs, the circles, the practices. It's all.
We went to a powwow not too long ago, a
Yes.
couple months ago, and I believe we saw the dancers, right?
Yeah.
And I believe that was a very powerful thing. Like they're practicing their dances, and when I hear some of the elders talk especially at Aniwa, when they practice those dancings and connecting back to their roots, I've heard of stories of them healing from alcoholism and drug addiction and stuff. And when having this conversation with you, it's like, oh, it's because they're moving their body, they're releasing this energy, they're putting it back into the earth.
And then also they're also manipulating their breath too. You're breathing, you're singing, you're doing breath manipulation at the same time. So it's all woven together. And I don't know about you, but when we did the powwow, because we were dancing and moving, it's like I had some awesome downloads.
Yeah, that was great.
I was like, this is
that whole day was so amazing. And we met up with my other friends.
Yes.
They were so sweet too.
I know. I miss them so much. It was such a great day. And there's another one coming up.
July
29th, I think.
Okay, I'll be at that one. I'll see you there.
Yeah, we'll be there. Yeah, ready to go.
So, I think I asked you this a couple times. If if you don't want to say anything, that's fine. But for example, like I was bullied a lot when I was in school, and one of the reasons that it's hard for me to read and I go to sleep when I try to read, like, is because I had this kid who would reach into my backpack and rip up all my Harry Potter books and all the books that I had. And so I think that's the reason why I hate reading now. Like I don't, and I had a lot of I remember like when I try to get back into reading, I just fall asleep or it's not interesting anymore, you know? So when I ask you like, what was the thing that, you know, if you don't have to speak about it, but you don't have to go, but if you are willing to share, I think that would really help our viewers. Whatever was something that actually caused the anxiety or depression. Like for me, it was that event, you know, and I have other traumas that have added to that, you know.
Yeah. I'm so sorry, by the way.
That's fine.
My goodness. That's also a really good question. I'm trying to think. Because there's many different examples. Thinking about a specific event. And you're talking about bullying because I've also experienced a lot of that too, just growing up.
Yeah.
And in different ways. Like I have memories too where I was either shunned out or bullied, where I was invited somewhere. It's one memory. I was invited somewhere and I was just invited somewhere for the purpose of, I think, getting eggs thrown at and like...
Whoa.
I know! Actually, coming to think about it, I was like, sheesh.
That's crazy. That's so... Was that in high school?
Yeah, it wasn't... I think it was end of middle school or early high school.
That's so...
I know. Sorry, I have so many...
That's horrible.
I know. So was what you went through. So it's hard because I'm like, I have so many... I know it sounds crazy to say it. It's unfortunate, but not so many stories like that, but so many experiences that really, you know, kind of affected me in my journey. But since you were talking about bullying, it's just the one that came up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was rough. I just remember wanting to go out to hang out, and a few people invited me to hang out, and then I tried to go over there, but they wouldn't let me in, and it was one of those screen mirror window or doors. I was like, why aren't they letting me in? And then somehow eggs came and they tried to throw eggs at me. And I'm like, and then I realized real fast I was not welcome here. So I started just walking back. And then as I was walking back, they were like pushing me like as if they wanted to fight. And I was so confused. I was like, what is going on here?
Is this the Mean Girls?
Yes. This was literally, and this was all girls. It was like 5 girls. I was like, what? And then I just, oh God. Yeah, I actually forgot about that story until you brought that up. So should I find like to share one story of my crazy
the
life?
Mean Girls. They're like the popular chicks.
I don't, not even actually.
Not really?
Yeah, and it was so confusing because it just came out of nowhere for me. And then so that was rough. And I was just like, what is going on? And the biggest thing though was, since I didn't know how to communicate my emotions, I remember coming home and I think my mom or somebody was like, "Oh, what's wrong?" And I'm like, "Nothing." You know what I mean? Like I just bottle it up. Like I felt I didn't want to share it, and then I also felt they're going through their own thing, and it's not worth sharing it. So I had a tendency to do a lot of that, was just to bottle everything up, and then I filtered everything through anger. Like my sadness, I think I was uncomfortable with the sadness, so I channeled it through anger, and I was so angry. Like, oh, it was like the angry bird. I was like, oh no, you know. So a lot of my journey was working through this anger, and I'm still working through it. You know, there's still moments. Of course, I get triggered, or things come up, or I'm feeling things, or even with all the work that I've done, there's moments where I'm like, okay, what is this? You know, is it coming from the ether? Am I in a different dimension, or did something trigger me? What is going on? So everything is heightened. So,
I've only known you as a person that really heavily leans into their intuition and to their heart. So like me hearing that you're so caught up with your mind and so stuck in your mind is very interesting to me, because like even at Aniwa, it's like, oh yeah, like I feel this, and I think that Aniwa was like 4 years ago now, or 5 years ago. I don't know.
Like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah. So even then, you're already, I guess, pretty heavily into your journey, because I remember the conversations I had with you, and you were really already tapping into your intuition and really trusting the guidance that you're given from spirit.
Thank you. And one thing I will thank you, I appreciate that. And a lot of that was, of course, going on that journey inward, and also a big thing for me, traveling. So many places. And honestly, a lot of these ancient sites, one of my missions is to go to every single ancient site in this lifetime. It's not going to happen, but
it will.
Maybe I could just astral travel. Maybe it will, but there's so many out there. But something about every time I go to these places,
just max it out as much as you can. You have a lot of life left.
Max it out, yeah. Just max. But it sometimes feels, so if you had like a childhood home, or like some place that we were at in a child, they had such good memories, and you haven't been in a while, and then you go back after years and you have this good feeling. That's kind of the feeling I get when I go to these ancient sites. It's so crazy. Every time I get this calling, it's literally spirit that just dials in and says, time to go. I'm like, what? It's not the right time. It's totally not the right time, but okay. And then I go, it's like that remembering. I'm like, wow, this feels like home. Like I've forgotten something, and something here resonates with me so deeply. And that all has strengthened my intuition. And I'm still strengthening it. I'm still on my journey. Because there's moments where I'm like, this is kind of scary, but I'll do it, and I still do it. And then some moments where I'm like, okay, hot,
So your fascination with ancient sites is connected directly to your intuition, because your intuition's like, or spirit will tell you like, hey, let's go here. And you're like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's so crazy. I'll just wake up one day and I'll be like, today's the day.
You're like, what? Not ready?
Yeah, I'm like, oh God, this is just not the greatest week. I was like, what? This is so not convenient. You pick the most inconvenient times. But yes, it's always convenient. But yeah, it's literally just bing. Time
what
to go.
ancient sites have you visited? Tell us some of your stories.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I mean, probably there's so many. I'm like, I know. Okay.
The ones that have stood out to you.
I would say Chaco Canyon in New Mexico, and El Mirador, because El Mirador, it's remote in Guatemala, and it took me 70 miles to get there and back. So there's only 2 ways.
El what?
Yeah, El Mirador.
Let me say that in Spanish.
Oh, El Mirador. Wait, that's totally. I don't know what.
Because I'm hearing like the chopped up English version.
I know. How do you El Mirador, EL space MIRADOR.
Let me see.
I'm so sorry for butchering.
Let's see.
I try my best.
El
Mirador.
Oh my! I will. We'll get back to that later, because my this is not an iPad. My Android tablet wants to update right now.
Oh, of course it wants to update right now. Convenience. But so it's mine site, wild in the middle of the Guatemalan jungle. There's only 2 ways to go there. You have to walk, trek, hike 70 miles there and back about, or you take a helicopter. And it is only small portions excavated, and it's completely remote. There's nobody there aside from the archaeologists who are actively doing their projects, or if there's a group like my group that went, right, that do go there and come back. Completely remote in the jungle. Most of the jungle is swallowed.
Swollen.
Yeah, swollen. There we go. Yes, swallowed. What's wrong with my English today? Sheesh. Swallowed by the jungle. And there's so much LiDAR scan that basically show all these amazing hidden structures. And there's only, a small percentage has been excavated. And one particular, La Danta, which is the largest pyramid complex by volume. So cool. We were able to go all the way up to the top and experience that. And to be immersed, because I've been to, let's say, Tikal. However, there's, active tourists. This is completely remote.
Wow.
There's nobody there. So you get just the deep connection. You can feel the energy. I don't think I slept the entire time I was there camping out. Yeah, literally. It was the most craziest dreams. And I had this 2 back-to-back nightmares or dreams of just war.
Wow.
Constant war. I was like, what is going on? And also just being immersed in the jungle. You can hear the spirits and feel the energy. And then, so I would say that was probably, there's so many stories that go behind that, but it was one of the most healing journeys because something about walking to that ancient site and back, I felt like I was going through a whole plant medicine journey, but without being on plants. But everything was just so heightened.
The spirits were just so intense there.
Intense. Like that. So intense. And it's also cool, I'll quickly say, so it is so massive that they had highways, causeways, so it would connect to Tikal, for example, connect to other ancient sites. So it just shows how massive this city was, and the depictions. Like there was a stela, it was a stone.
It's just all swollen by the jungle.
Yeah, swollen by the jungle. Sheesh. I know, seriously.
Swallowed by the jungle.
Swollen. I know, sorry, I get so excited talking about it. But the last thing I'll say is there's a stone stela that was discovered, and there's a humanoid depicted on it. So it's half human, half serpent, and it's pouring a venomous liquid. And it has glyphs writing that nobody can decipher because it's so archaic. But it just had such a message of something that's coming. Like, it was just a wild thing to experience and see it. It was like, wow, it almost feels like a message or warning of something. But it had a lot of those moments throughout the entire time. And you're camping, under the tarps. You have a bucket of water to shower with, which is nice because after a hot day and all the mosquitoes, just one cold bucket of water is the best feeling at the end of the day. But crazy noises also. Oh my goodness. At night, I was like, would hear like
Chupacabras here.
Seriously. I was like, jeez. I'm like, okay. I was like, guides. I was like, I come in peace. I respect the land. I love you all. I'm here. Please just allow me to be safe and grounded. Well, because unfortunately, there's also a lot of pain because there was a lot of looters, and that's so unfortunate because so many looters went through and stole these delicate pieces off the Mayans, and naturally making their spirit just uneasy.
Yes.
And it's just, and that breaks my heart because that's such a common thing for people to have gone through and like steal and take what's not theirs, and that also
not
just
theirs.
theirs. Okay, after this, I'm going to English 101. I'm
having a great time.
You're like my boyfriend because he's like, what'd you say? What'd you say? Every day, at least once.
That song, like theirs.
Yeah, like theirs.
Remember that song?
Yeah, wait, what was that song? I forgot that song, but I know that song. Yeah, yeah, I know that song. I wanted to sing it, but now I can't remember it. But I know it energetically. I can hear it.
I think it's like a R&B rap song or something.
Yeah, like something.
Like they're.
Oh yeah, like they're, yeah, something, and breakdown. Sorry, that was a lot of pyramid information. Oh, sheesh. Lord help me.
So I wanted to ask you if there's one piece of advice that our viewers who are watching that you could leave them with, like that they can do either on a weekly or daily basis. What would you recommend they do? It can be anything that we've talked about breathwork, psychedelics, and we talked about ancient sites, but I know you are a type of healer, so like what practice, what suggestion do you have for viewers to shift, to change? Any piece of advice?
Got it.
No.
I would say, excuse me. Well, first and foremost, since we've trusting our intuition has been a hot topic.
Yeah.
I would say trust your intuition. Trust it. There's so much information out there, and I know it can get very confusing and exhausting and sometimes discouraging because we're looking for answers. And there's so much, it's just like, where do we go? And sometimes we take something, try this, and it's not working. We're not getting our answers. But really just trust your intuition, trust the modalities that feel good for you. If, breathing, of course. Well, this is also for everybody. Breathe.
Yes.
Breathe. This is just please breathe. Come back to your breath. Notice how you're breathing. If you notice you're breathing mostly in your upper chest.
You want to give a quick demonstration?
Oh, sure. Okay. So, there's so many. Okay.
And I'll follow your lead.
Perfect. Okay. So there's one thing that you can try just to test your breathing, see how you are. If you're breathing through your chest or if you're utilizing your diaphragm properly, because your diaphragm needs to move. It needs to go up. It needs to descend when you inhale and then relax, right? But a lot of people get stuck in their chest breathing. So you can take your hands, place them under your side ribs. And then we're going to take a deep breath through our nose. Don't do it just yet. But when you breathe in, focus on expanding your torso like an umbrella. So you want to breathe.
Torso?
Yeah, your whole. So breathe into your side ribs, into your back, and into your front like an umbrella. And so feel your hands expand out as you breathe.
Okay.
And you're breathing through your nose.
My nose.
And then we're going to exhale through our nose.
Okay.
Okay, so in 3, 2, 1, breathe in. Hold at the top, sipping more air in. And then let it go. Keep going all the way to the end. Nice. Were you able to feel your hands expand?
I'm not that flexible here.
I get that though. I get that. Or were you able to? Yeah.
Let me try again.
Yeah. Take a deep breath in. Focus on expanding your hands. And then letting it go.
I don't think it's hard for me to get here. Like, let me sit up. Okay, let's try again.
Okay, take a deep breath in. Let it go.
Oh, out of my mouth.
You can totally exhale through your mouth too.
Okay. Let's try that again.
Yeah, focus on filling up the belly.
Okay.
And then your hands expand, side ribs, back body, front. And then letting it go.
Felt it that time.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, so
it took me a couple times.
And that's normal. It's normal. It's practice. So this helps you distribute the pressure equally and helps you utilize your diaphragm. Another thing, you can breathe just through your belly. That helps your diaphragm descend. So it helps trigger your parasympathetic nervous system if you want some rest. And obviously, there's the only time you'd really want to be chest breathing is in a facilitated breathwork session because we're breathing through our chest and through an open mouth, part of the practice, to create a controlled sympathetic spike purposely to bring up stored survival energy so it can be met, processed, and released. So it's intentional.
Yes.
But outside of the breathing and coming back to your breath and just really listening to your breath, and when you get overwhelmed, just breathe. Come back to the present moment. I know it can get hard. Most importantly, though, aside from that, just listen to your intuition, what calls to you. There's so many modalities, but trust it. Trust what, maybe there's something that you're like, ooh, this is so interesting for me. Trust that. That's a pull. You're curious. Breath work. I was like, yes. I love breath work. I feel like everybody should try it. It's amazing, But of course, listen to what your body's telling you. Same thing with plant medicine. It's a lot. It's a lot. And if you're not ready for it, if you don't force anything. Allow it to come to you, all these modalities, and just try things out, and feel into it. Feel what feels good. And if it doesn't, shift, shift to something else. It's also part of the journey. So I would say breathe, follow your breath, follow your intuition. Of course, I always highly recommend breath work, active breath work. That's what's helped me get to the root, that helped me expand. And yeah, and it could be as simple as a meditation practice or movement or a dance class, maybe it's as simple as, no, I just want to go to a dance class. Yes, that's a start, connect with your body, move. So really honor yourself and listen to yourself as what feels good for you. So that would be my very long recommendation.
So that has been the Raw Path to Awakening podcast. I'm your host, Ezequiel Reyes. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube, and hit the bell notification. If you want to get in contact with Greta, I'm going to leave information in the bio, and have a good day.